Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the stream. Glad to see so many good people in here as always. Love you guys. Let's say hello to FN Lawyer. Yes, you were the first one to arrive this morning. And then we got Terry Barnes and we got Jim Hughes. Always good to see you. Susan, the sassy old granny. I've been seeing you more and more lately. Welcome, welcome. Glad to see you again. The Forgiven Jerry. Hello, welcome. P Max once again. Uh, Listening while enjoying my pillow. Yes. And a little bit of wine there, maybe. We got I Kiss. Let's see, Cliff Hickson, Hello, baby, Dr. H.M. Smitty. Tee. Oh, hello, baby. Forgive it, Jerry, Jim Hughes. Salacious. Hello, welcome back. Good to see you again. Scott Ammo, always good to have you here too. Everybody, I got the best morning crew. I'm telling you, I love you guys so much. This is great stuff. Um, so welcome. How's everybody feeling this morning? Yeah, welcome in the weekend coming up. TGIF, right? Today is Friday. Hey, we got a big game coming up this weekend. We're gonna have the Chicago Bears beating the crap out of them old Green Bay Packers. That's gonna be fun to watch. And let's see. Uh, this is an awesome crowd. Yes, it is. I always get the best people. I love it. I love it. I love it. Um, Woohoo! Friday. That's right. Um, so good to see you guys once again. Welcome back to the morning stream, Breakfast with Hezokuai. All members of my Hezokuai Breakfast Club. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, couple things I wanted to talk about today. Now, for some of you, this might be breaking news. I don't know. So, last night, I was just, going around YouTube. I was pretty much set to go to bed. And then I saw a live stream, like a sovereign citizen thing. And Ironton Auditor was in there. And I'm like, oh, I wonder what's going on with this. And so I decided I went in there. I started listening for a few minutes. And I made some comments. And they were like, why don't you jump on panel and we'll talk about it? So I'm like, okay, why not? So I ended up staying up a little bit later than I expected because we were actually having a good conversation. It wasn't even a debate, it was a discussion about these issues. There were a couple parts where it started to get a little heated, but nothing ever got out of control. Everyone was respectful, you know. But the fascinating thing about it was that at the end, and I'll get back to the details of what actually happened during the conversation and address some of the issues that were brought up. But the first thing I want to talk about is the way the conversation ended. And like I said, this was late last night, so a lot of you might have already been in bed when this happened and don't even know what I'm talking about. As we were in the middle of our discussion, Tina Slay shows up. And she has a clip that had just happened at that time of Chile went live last night. Yeah, I know I'm talking about the Castro again, but you guys got to hear this. You got to hear this. If you're somebody who's sick and tired of hearing about Chile, just wait until you hear what he did last night. So he's on live. He's talking about all this stuff that's going on with Kate and Team Skeptic and him suing everybody and blah, 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 blah. And he says, talking about Kate, and they showed the clip. So it wasn't just like, somebody said, he said, no, I saw with my own eyes, the words came out of his mouth. He's talking about Kate, Masshole Report. And he says, so, I really hope that, when you die, you go to hell and that your children die of bone cancer. Now, what are you talking about? That is just so beyond acceptable. I mean, man. Yes. So, FN, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Chili's actual stream where he said that. I mean, being mad at someone is one thing. Wanting to sue someone is one thing. But wishing a slow, painful death upon their children, I mean, we all knew the guy was a scumbag, but he keeps saying and doing things that just make it even more blatantly obvious that that's all he is and all he's ever gonna be is a scumbag. I mean, when I heard that, I'm like, what? Now he's attacking Kate's kids, not just Kate? Like, that's all, that should be off the table, man. Um, yeah, he is definitely not good. He wished death upon her and her kids. Yep. Very, 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 very bad stuff. Oh man. So that's probably the most insane thing I've heard him say in a minute. And once again, after that happened, um, in the chat we were in, the guy comes up, or not the guy, it was Tina Slay who was up, but somebody mentioned, like, you know, well, this guy shouldn't say that, and that's too much of it. And everybody on panel, even though there were people on the panel from both sides of the fence, as always, and I pointed out at the time, I'm like, hey, you know what? If Chili DeCastro ever did do a good thing, it's that he was able to bring us two separate communities together to agree that he's a piece of crap and that he crosses the line. Everybody on both sides of the fence agree that he's bad. So that's whatever. Yeah, it was just so beyond acceptable. Um, for him to do that and talk like that. And he's talking about like slander and libel and blah, 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 whatever. But I mean, that's not just random, free speech. I mean, it is, but come on. Anyone's supposed to believe you're the good guy? Who was on the panel? Me, Ironton Auditor, Joe Cool, um, Ryan, and it's the guy whose channel it was. See, somebody asked earlier which panel was it. I'm trying to remember. It was something like Sovereign. Oh, Sovereign Soul. Was that it? Was that him? It might. Yeah, it's something like that. Because like the title of the stream was something like you know, whatever. I wasn't trying to, you know, I forgot. It was late last night, and I went to bed straight from it, so I didn't like, do anything with it. Let me see if I could go back to my history and see. Um, Oh, welcome aboard the citizenship. Yeah, it was Sovereign Soul, Unchained Mind. That's what it was. Sovereign Soul, Unchained Mind. And yeah, I was up on the panel. He was there. Um, Ironton Auditor. And then eventually, like I said, Tina Slay came up. Um, yep, Sovereign Citizen, Unchained Mind. Exactly. Um, it's so horrible the way that guy's acting now. It's beyond. Um, So anyway, that was the big thing, and that happened at the end of the debate. But going back to before that, the actual context in which we were having our discussion, um, and again, I have nothing but respect for the way that they handled it. It didn't turn into a shit show or a big old argument or anything. It was not even a debate. It was a legitimate discussion of the topics and the issues. So I actually enjoyed myself over there and glad they had me up. But one of the things that was mentioned was, and I thought it was like, since then I've had time to process it and think about it because the Ryan guy, he brought up a couple of case law, and some codes, and asked me what I thought of them, and it was like, I don't ever want to comment on case law or anything until I actually read the case myself, and so that I know what I'm talking about, and I'm not just either agreeing or disagreeing with someone's opinion of it, right? So I looked it up, and whatever stuff was going on during the debate, and then Tina showed up, and then that became more of a thing, and I had to go to bed, so I never really got to take the time to read the whole thing and address it then, but I have since then. And what I found I thought was fascinating. Excuse me, I'm going to need more coffee. Ah. What I thought was fascinating was On yesterday's live, I addressed a video that I covered where a guy was bringing up case law that shows that you don't need a driver's license unless you're driving in a commercial capacity, right? And what he quoted when we went back and looked it up was from the laws regarding commercial driving. In other words, it wasn't like the law saying that you have to be a commercial driver to get a license. It was the law regarding commercial driving. That was the law. So, of course, it's going to say that you need a commercial driver's license to do commercial driving. That was the whole point of the ordinance, right? So, what ended up happening was last night, they're quoting these case laws at me. And again, during the debate or discussion, I didn't have time to read the whole case then, but I have since then. And so I wanted to address that now. And the thing that I found absolutely fascinating about it was, and it's a little complex. I can see how, um, and again, this sort of goes back to the whole idea of like some of these people actually believe in a cause, and some of them are just trying to get paid, right? These guys seem to have legitimately believe in what they're saying. So that's one of the reasons why I tried not to just argue with them and attack them about it. It's like, okay, let's hear what you have to say, what your opinion is, because it seems like you legitimately have one. So he gives me this case law. I look it up. I read the entire case. And there were a lot of little points that he kept bringing up. He's like, well, this case law proves this and this and this and this. So I had to sort of like go over one at a time and see what he's talking about. And there's several things that they say, right? Like the whole idea that you're not a person, that a person is a corporation, and that the government is a corporation. And when they say person, they're talking about the corporate entity, not the actual human being that is you, right? And so when you go to court, the court has no jurisdiction against over you as a human being, only over the corporate name and all of this, standard sovereign citizen nonsense, right? But he uses this case law to support what he says. And in the case law, it talks about, and he specifically pointed out these couple bits like residency. Like, oh, wait, according to this, it doesn't define residency the way that we think of it. You don't live in your residence, you're a resident alien of the United States because you're not actually a citizen. It's all just part of this big corporate scam to try and trick you into thinking you're a citizen, but you're really a resident alien. And this court proves that. And then he was talking about the jurisdiction of the courts and how they don't have jurisdiction over this type of person. And he kept going on and on and on and on. So I actually read the case and I realized very quickly that the case was regarding a foreign corporation suing over taxing. In other words, it would be like, for example, we all know that, like, I don't know, Toyota is a Japanese company, right? But there are Toyota dealerships in the United States, and those dealerships have to work within American, United States laws to run their business within the United States, right? So, because this specific case that he was referring to is literally about a foreign corporation operating with offices within the United States, of course the case is going to talk about how the foreign corporation and its residency defined within this context of this law is because the actual residency of the corporation itself was in another country. But they're taking these ideas and saying, see, this court case proves that I'm not a resident. It proves that we're aliens and that the government has no. It's like, no, 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 wait. This whole case, not just these little sentences and paragraphs you're pulling out, but the entire thing is regarding a literal foreign company. Like, it's not saying that you and I are foreign corporations. The case is regarding a foreign corporation. That's why they keep mentioning it. And the residency thing, again, because the headquarters, the actual corporation exists outside of U.S. soil. That's why they're mentioning it, not because it proves that you and I technically are personally not residents. It literally is a non resident. It literally is a foreign corporation. The whole case is about that. So, taking a case just like the one I did yesterday, right? When you're taking a case about commercial travel, of course it's going to refer to the commercial travel in the case. If you're talking about a case about a foreign corporation, of course it's going to talk about foreign corporations in the case law. So they're taking these bits and pieces of case law. See, it says defined as foreign corporation. See, it says defined as this, defined as that. Well, yeah, in that particular case, those particular entities that are suing or being sued or whatever the case is are going to be referred to that because that's what they are. Oh. Vegas Valley said he wants to fight Team Skeptic. I was watching Vegas Fallacy. Vegas Fallacy. Fallacy, right? Vegas Valley's live last night, and he was talking mad trash. And it's like, hey, Lisa, welcome back. Yeah, she was there last night. Well, yeah, Lisa, you didn't miss anything because I was just talking about last night, the live stream where I was on panel and you were there. So I don't think you really missed anything. The only thing that I was saying this morning so far was I was talking about one of the case laws Ryan brought up and how at the time I didn't have time to actually read the case and process it. So I didn't want to comment on it. But since then, I have read it. And then I broke down sort of my findings earlier. Leland, welcome. Good to see you. So anyway, there's that. And again, and as normal, always taking bits and pieces of case law. And I honestly believe that for the people who do truly believe in the cause, who are not just straight up fraudsters, grifters, con men, and idiots, the people who really truly believe this stuff, I think that's one of the reasons why. One of the reasons why they're able to support their narrative in their own minds and come to terms with it is because all of these out of context quotes and etc. really do come from legitimate case law. So they can do just like they said. Well, look up this statute, this thing, and read it. But what they're maybe not thinking about is it's no different than someone who, and I'm not trying to get into a religious debate here, but just as an example of the type of thing, it's like taking one particular Bible verse out of context and using that as your argument. It's like, well, yeah, but if you read the whole paragraph, it might be saying something completely different than that. But you just take that one sentence out of it and say, well, it's in the Bible. It's the same thing. They take one sentence out of that. Well, it's in case law. It's like, well, yeah, but if you read that sentence within the context of the entire case, you realize that the argument begins to break down, But if all you look at is that one piece, then yes, it is going to support your argument. And you're going to have the actual legitimate case law there to prove it. So anyway, like how they read poster 7. Yeah, that's another good example too, right? Just take the top sentence and ignore the rest. And then if somebody does bring up the rest, say, well, that doesn't trump my rights anyway, right? Um, what the argument, or see, again, I actually had a lot of fun last night on that panel because they didn't want to just argue. They actually wanted to discuss the issues. And I absolutely appreciated that. Um, Although, yes, like Lisa pointed out, they did a lot more talking than I did. But I tried not to, again, I didn't want to turn it into an argument. I genuinely wanted to hear what they had to say. Because the fact of the matter is, um, I'm not afraid to learn, right? If I'm wrong about something, let me know. And I'll say, oh, you know what? You're right. That's why I told him. I said, well, I'm not going to comment on that case. Give me the case. I'll look it up. I'll read the findings myself before I comment on it. Because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And I'm going to admit it. I'm not going to lie. Right. But again, when I go back and read it, it's like, well, this doesn't apply. Because again, the case he was talking about literally was dealing with a foreign corporation, like a literal foreign corporation. Like I said, Toyota's in Japan, Honda's in Japan, Nintendo is in Japan. These are foreign corporations, right? The literal foreign corporations. So to take just the bits about foreign corporations that are in the law and say, see, that proves that the government's a foreign corporation because this case law says foreign corporation. It's like the case was about foreign corporations. Anyway, I don't want to just keep harping on that same point over and over, but it's the reason why I keep talking about it is because it really does illustrate how, like I say, they have one of the reasons why it is difficult to argue with these guys and to try and get their minds, to change in any way. Not that, I'm trying to make anyone think anyway. Anyone can think whatever they want. Everyone has different opinions. But when it comes to stating fact, right, that's not an opinion. And when you're looking at certain case law and taking bits and pieces of it out of context, and you yourself don't understand the full context of it, it makes it easier for me to understand how these people can be sort of duped by their own ideas. It's like, hey, you're not just thinking some weird stuff. Here's case law that backs up what you're saying. And then they read that one sentence or one paragraph and it's legitimate case law. And it just reinforces their belief and makes it much more difficult to say, no, 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 you don't understand that. Read the entire case. That has nothing to do with it. That's just a one little piece of a much larger whole. A better example would be the way Chili DeCastro always talks about Terry v. Ohio, right? He's like, oh, see, the guys didn't actually rob the store, so how could they get arrested for trying to rob the store if they weren't robbing it? It's like, well, if the cops always just waited until after for example, and I always go back to this, you look at something like murder, the cops have to sit there and wait until after the murder takes place and then they can arrest the murderer. But so they can't stop him from killing someone. They have to let him kill him. It doesn't make sense in my head at all. Yeah. So anyway, the overarching theme, it seemed last night, was that the idea of natural law and common law and all those things are the only laws that actually matter. And this is another point that I was kind of trying to make with them last night, was that I get the idea, okay, but I brought up, like, well, ultimately what it came down to was frontier justice, right? Because I used the example of, like, well, again, if somebody kills somebody and they were like, oh, well, if somebody kills somebody, then there actually is a victim, then there actually is an injured party, so then that's different. But I pointed out, yes, but your argument is that the government itself is a fictitious entity. It does not exist to begin with. So if you murder somebody, even though there is a victim in that case, if the government itself is a fictional entity, how could they prosecute you for the murder. If they don't exist, how could they prosecute you for anything? Everything is just legal. And then that's when they say, yeah, but that's when we pull out our guns and we take care of it. It's like, that's the Wild West. That's frontier justice. That's That's survival of the fittest. That's the strongest survive. That's how we got into this situation in the first place. Whoever has the bigger gun wins. And then everybody else becomes their minions and they become the king. And the whole process starts all over again. Like, I'm just going to take care of it myself. If somebody tries to kill me, I'll just pull out my gun and kill them. So everyone's just running around shooting each other. That's the kind of freedom you're looking for. And then they always fall back on this. No, but you don't understand. If everybody does the right thing, then nobody's going to hurt anybody in the first place. Beautiful utopia. And then they call where I'm coming from a fantasy world. You mean getting rid of the laws and letting everyone just do anything with absolutely no rules, and if somebody makes you mad you could just murder them on the street. That's not a but well, no, that's not the fantasy. The fantasy is if that happened, nothing bad would happen because everyone would choose to never do anything wrong. Somebody who's poor and hungry and starving on the street corner isn't gonna try and steal somebody else's stuff because that would be wrong. And people don't do things that are wrong. That doesn't happen. It's only because the government and the police are forcing us to act that way that we act that way. But I live in a fantasy world. You believe that if there were no laws, everyone would just sit and be nice to each other and shake hands, and if they were starving to death, just die and not try to do something to get food.
Desperate people
And if they,
do desperate things.
yeah, desperate people take desperate measures. So obviously, that's completely their world is a fantasy world. That's an insane idea. It would be beautiful if the world actually worked that way. It would be fantastic. I would love that. But realistically speaking, that doesn't happen. That's not the world. There's always going to be somebody who wants something that somebody else has. And if they can't get it, they're going to take it. That's all there is to it. You know, um, when they talk about how, if, and I always say this just in general, if we lived in their idealistic perfect utopia and they were specifically saying like the way God intended and this and that, it's like, okay, where are you going to live? Oh, well, I'm going to live on my land. Well, who says it's your land? Well, I do. Well, what if the guy with the bigger gun says it's his land? Now what? Well, you got to eat. You got to do that, you would have to grow your own food. Yeah, whose land are you going to grow it on? Well, I'm going to grow it on my land. Well, again, what if the dude with the bigger gun says it's his land? What if him and his 15 buddies with bigger guns all get together and decide that it's their land and that's where they want to grow their food? What are you going to do then? Oh, and they always, this is one of the things that came up yesterday. They always like, oh, don't worry, I'd take care of it. I got a gun. It's like, other people have guns too. And there might be a lot more of them than there are of you. That's called war. That's why wars happen. The whole thing started over farming, because if you're spending the time and energy every day to grow your food, and then some other group of people come and they say, oh, look, cool, a whole bunch of food, and they just start taking it, and you spend all that time and all that energy and all that blood, sweat, and tears to raise those crops and to keep them healthy and to take care of them so you could feed your family, and now these random idiots decide they're just going to take it. You're either going to end up killing them or they're going to end up killing you. Either way, it's just a bunch of people running around shooting each other all the time. That's your free society. That's your beautiful utopian society that you're looking to create. And then they said to me, they're like, well, with all that being said, what that means is that you are living, you're just a fearmonger, right? You're just afraid that all these bad things are going to happen. So you need big daddy government to. No, it's not fear. It's realism. It's reality. It's understanding the way the world works. It's understanding the way people work. There's always going to be somebody who's hungrier than you. There's always going to be somebody who's more desperate than you. There's always going to be somebody who has nothing that needs something. And if your society is the one where the only way you get something is if you take it, then they're going to take it. And if you're right and you'll stop them, then what does that lead to? What is the ultimate goal? Instead of spending your life sitting behind the computer yapping on about these laws that you don't agree with, you're going to spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, standing on your front porch with a shotgun, mowing down every idiot that's trying to take your stuff. Come on, man. It's not fear, it's realism. It's understanding that human beings don't work that way. Because if they did, none of this stuff would exist. We wouldn't need government. We wouldn't need police. None of those things would even be there in the first place. If you just left people to their own accord to do whatever they want, they're not going to sit there and turn it into a hippie love fest. That's not reality. So let's take a look at something else. I brought up earlier Mr. Bunghole de Castro. What did my kid say yesterday? Um, he was like, you should do something about, I'm trying to remember, pistachio nuts. He's like, you should take a pistachio nut and then like put a picture of chili in it and call him chili pistachio instead of chili de Castro. I thought that was funny. So let's take a quick look at where we're at with the Grifty Awards. As of this morning, yesterday, Chili got taken out of the top spot. Let's see where he's at today. Still in second place. Wow. These people nowadays, I guess, really hate these fortune tellers, huh? Um, So go ahead, make sure you go to the Grifties and vote for Chili de Castro. Let's get him back in the first place where he belongs, especially after what he said about Kate last night. That guy's the scum of the scum, the dirt of the dirt, and the bag of the bag. Sorry, I was just catching up with the chat here. It's not Woodstock. Yeah. And even at Woodstock, like, yeah, that was like the one big event where everyone got along and everything was cool. But there were problems there. It's not like the whole thing just went perfect. Um, but yes, that's actually a good example because if you look at what happened, like Woodstock was like that one magical moment where everything came together for 3 days, and it was beautiful. And then what happened the next time they tried to do something like that? You had Altamont with the Rolling Stones. And we all know what happened there. It wasn't good. And then Woodstock 2000 and all the stuff with the water being too expensive and people fighting to get water. And again, when desperate people take desperate measures, man, and desperation will be a thing. And it's so easy, for people who are sitting in their homes, minding their own business, going on the internet complaining about this stuff, to do that because we're here, and it's like, well, I don't know, man. It's like they want to complain about having the right to do that. And of course, ultimately, it always just comes down to traffic crap because they just don't want to pay fees. That's all. Because at one point during the debate yesterday, um, one of the points that I brought up was I said, like, if everything that your end is saying is true, then I shouldn't be able to just go outside right now and drive to the store and buy something and then drive home without being stopped by the cops and arrested and all that, because their narrative is that that's what cops do. They just harass people for no reason constantly. That's their job. And I made that point, like, well, I'm 49 years old and um, that doesn't happen. I mean, I know I'm not an idiot. I've had experiences where there are bad cops who do things that they probably shouldn't do, right? But ultimately, those one offs here and there, these guys paint a picture where it's just, this is it. Like, if you're out there minding your own business, the cops are going to mess with you, period. And I made the point again, that doesn't seem to happen to me at all. How come, how come it doesn't happen to me? Back to blue until it happens to you. Well, it doesn't happen to me. Why not? And then the guy said, take your license plate off your car and drive around and see how long the cops don't mess with you. Well, if you're driving around without a license plate and you don't know you're going to get stopped, I mean, how could you not understand that you cannot say that the police are stopping you for no reason when the fact that you have no plates is a reason? You might not agree with that reason. You might have issues with the laws that give them that reason, but dedicating your entire life to complaining about the cops pulling people over for no reason when not having the license plate on the car is the reason. There is a reason. Saying that there's no reason is a lie. And then saying, oh, all I did wrong was I didn't have any plates. Yes. 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 You nailed it. Good job. Well, I shouldn't have to have plates. Okay, but you do. So getting mad at the cops for stopping you for doing something that you know the cops are going to stop you for doing is counterintuitive. You take your plate off your car, you know for a fact you're going to get stopped for driving around without plates. So again, you can argue the law of whether or not plates should be required all you want. But to argue that the cops are tyrants who stop people for no reason just because they stopped me for not having plates, the fact that you don't have plates is the reason you're getting stopped. Hey, Ironton, he was there last night. We had a good time. I was just talking about some of the points that were made, and I was talking about the whole license plate thing. They aren't normal people. That's right. And I don't know, Ironton, if you just got here, because I talked about a bunch of the stuff that came up last night. Because now that I've had time to process it, especially the case law that Ryan brought up, since then I've had time to actually read the entire case and able to comment on it now. But what I was just saying was, when I mentioned, well, the cops never stopped me, he said, well, then why don't you take your plates off your car and see if the cops stop you? And my point was, well, you could argue whether or not license plate laws should exist in the first place. That's one thing. But accusing the police of being these big, evil, horrible, rotten, no good, tyrannical extortionists, blah, 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 because they pull you over for no reason. The fact that you don't have the plates on your car is the reason. You might not agree with that reason, but it is a reason. So to say that they're pulling you over for no reason is disingenuous, because the second you take that plate off the car, you know you're just begging to get pulled over. Again, you want to argue the actual statutes and laws that require you to have a plate is one thing. But to get mad at the cop for pulling you over when the second you take the plate off, you know that you're begging to get pulled over is disingenuous. Um, yes. Well, that was honestly seeing him there last night was one of the reasons why I decided to, kind of participate on the panel yesterday because it became very obvious very quickly. And again, like I said earlier, what I actually enjoyed about it was the fact that it didn't look like these guys just wanted to troll and bait and argue, but like legitimately wanted to discuss these ideas on an intellectual level, like actually have a discussion. And I appreciated that. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'll come up there because, why not? It's because I've had, and I even mentioned this yesterday, like I've had people on here, I've had Rogue Nation on here, a couple others, and they always do the same thing they do, like when they're auditing, right? They talk in circles and they ask multiple questions, they answer questions with questions, they deflect, and they try to get you thinking about something, and then before you could formulate an answer, they ask you something else to confuse you and make you look stupid. And they weren't playing any of those games. They were just, look, here's the case law, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, since then, I've looked up the case law myself and found out that it was being taken out of context. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they were, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. It doesn't necessarily mean that they are literally purposely taking those things out of context. But when they're trying to support their ideas, trying to find evidence. Like they heard someone somewhere say, hey, that traveling and driving are two different things. And then they look up case law and they find case law that says that without reading the entire case. But it is legitimate case law that does say that. They go, oh, wow, look at that. It actually is written right here. It's like, well, yeah, but read the entire case and see the context in which that came in. It's different. Again, I'm not accusing them of purposely taking it out of context, but if that's how they know it is outside of that context, then in their minds, they're going to believe that that's true. Like they say, one of the reasons that um, the lie detector tests are inadmissible in court is because if you believe it, it's not going to read it as a lie, right? If these guys believe it, they're not lying. They actually believe that they're right. And then you say, okay, yeah, but what about this? What about that? Um, so anyway, it was a very fascinating situation. But again, at the end, Tina Slay came in and talked about Chili threatening Kate and her family, and that's when like our little discussion about stupid license plates and stuff didn't even matter anymore. Like everyone immediately, no matter what side, was like, "Oh, dude, that's scumbaggery right there. That's crossing the line. That dude is just horrible." Oh man, and it's funny too how like, and I always hear so many people talk about they're sick and tired of hearing about chili this, chili that, chili, 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 but then you hear about a situation like this, and it's like, how can you not? Like, when our side of the fence and their side of the fence have been, especially, there have been some points where people have gotten like really up in arms over some of these ideas, but the fact that both sides of the fence are able to come together and agree on the stupidity of chili, that's a beautiful thing, and that's what we need to do. And that's another point that I made last night is like, if you want to talk about, this was what I said specifically. I said, look, if you guys came to me and told me that license plates were way too expensive, that the renewal fees were insanely high, you know what? I could actually get behind you on that. I'll stand right there with you and march down to City Hall and protest these prices. But the idea that they shouldn't exist at all, to me, is ridiculous. And I use this example: somebody steals your car. What are you going to do? Say, hey, you got to find somebody stole my blue van. There's no license plate number for them to look for. They're just looking for a blue van. So what are they going to pull over every single blue van on earth? And they say, no, 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 you got your VIN, right? And then I made the point, well, you know, the only way you could see the VIN is if you pull them over and get right up close to the front window and look at it. So in our more free society, everyone with a blue van gets pulled over because somebody stole a blue van somewhere, and there's no identifying mark except for the VIN. So then they have to look. But at the time, during the stream last night, I said VIN number. So instead of addressing the issue and answering the question, they said, oh, now wait, the N in VIN stands for number. So saying VIN number is like saying vehicle identification number. And that's incorrect grammar. And we had a good laugh over it, and that was all good. But it still left the question unanswered. Like, again. And then after that, it fell back to, well, if somebody steals my car, I'll just go out there and shoot them. Oh, okay. Well, that's a better world. Great. Thanks. Everyone just, again, it ends up going back to everyone just shooting everybody. That's freedom. That's peace and love. Well, no, see? It goes in a circle, the circular logic. No, you don't understand. If there was no government and there were no cops, everyone would just sit around and smile and have fun and never hurt anybody, because people don't hurt people. People don't get hungry and starve and want to do anything they possibly can to eat, and meaning if they'll have to steal or kill to do it, they will. No, that doesn't happen. That only happens because cops exist. That's so insane to me. That's so insane to me. That whole idea. It's frontier justice. It's anarchy. It's just everyone running around shooting each other over every tiny little gripe. You know, it's like you got beef with someone, you just shoot them. All right, that's cool. That's the world we live in now. And how these people think that would be better, I don't understand. And again, the argument that they kept making was, well, everyone would just be cool. Because if I don't hurt anybody and you don't hurt anybody and they don't hurt anybody, then everything will be fine. Yeah, but guess what? Somebody somewhere down the line isn't going to choose to do that. Somebody somewhere down the line is going to say, like I said earlier, if you say, well, this is my land and I'm going to grow my food on it, and somebody else says, no, I want this land and I want this food. Did you say no? And then, well, why are they going to listen to you? And then you pull out your gun and they pull out their gun and everyone just shoots each other. And there you go. That's the world that we're looking for, is where everyone just runs around shooting each other all the time. Perfect. Completely unrealistic, I think. Um, Unrealistic expectations. So it looks like we got a few more people in here than we had earlier that I haven't said hello to yet. We got Gamer88. Welcome, welcome. Hello, baby. Dr. Smitty was in here before. Brian Showman, hello, welcome. Ironton Auditor again. Maggie K. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see so many people. No! Oh, my dog just peed on the floor. I don't believe this. I'm just sitting here talking to you, and I looked over and I see her peeing on the floor. Hold on, I got to go take care of that. Oh, my goodness. Here, I'll play something for you real quick while I go clean that up. Oh, no. All right, hold on. I got to move fast, so let me just pick something at random and play it. So that you guys aren't looking at dead air. Oh man! Now my computer's going to be slow, of course. Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh no! Oh no! I want to clean that up before it soaks into the carpet. Oh man! Bogus, bogusness, and bogosity. Oh boy! Ah!
expectation of privacy in public. There's no need to fear. Hezokuai is here.
Hey guys, I'm just running. The frauditors, they're after me again. They're trying to take my picture without my permission. They got the dogs out after me and everything. This is crazy. I don't know what to do. Well, I mean, I know what to do. There's no expectation of privacy in public, right? So I got to go hide somewhere because that's the world they want, where the only way you can not get your picture took is to hide because you're not in public. So I got to get out of public. I got to find a good private spot to hide. So in the meantime, check out these clips of frauditors acting like tyrants. Wish me luck.
Do the walk of shame, bro. Come on, just do it.
For the man.
Walk away, bro.
Working for the man.
Walk away,
How
bro.
do you feel working for the man like a seller?
Matter of fact, I want your name, bro.
What's your name, badge number?
I want your name, bro.
What's your name, badge number?
I don't.
What's his name? What's his name? I want his name. Hey, don't leave because you're detained, bro.
Go 10-8. Get back to work and do your job right.
Yep, let's go, bro. Listen to your boy, man. Have a good night. You're dismissed.
Find a job in the private sector then. This is a public service. Yes, I do. I pay your salary, so give it up.
You don't.
Again, stop being silly and just take down the request like your job asks you to do.
I don't consent to my name and my salary.
Then find a job in the private sector.
You can go back to work. You're dismissed.
Excuse me?
You're dismissed. You can go back to work. Ma'am, you're dismissed. You can go back to work.
No, you do not dismiss me.
Ma'am, you're dismissed. Case closed. You're dismissed.
That's good.
You should call your daddy.
All right.
Your daddy would be better.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
his great granny. She's probably dead though.
Interesting.
All right, appreciate it. Go call your daddy now and make sure he comes out.
Why don't you mind your business and go to work or wherever you are? Meals on Wheels.
You need me to identify myself.
I need you to identify yourself.
What is your name?
No. I ask the questions, not you. You work for me, bud.
I think I'm okay now. I don't see him out there. I don't know. I'm in this little shed here. I'm hoping they'll leave me alone at least for a couple minutes. I don't see him, and they're not trying to get in here. I see somebody lurking in the background there. I hope he doesn't try to, put his camera in the window like that and film me from the outside. But I don't know, man. These guys are unpredictable animals. Oh, they're terrible. So how'd you like those idiots telling everybody what to do and barking orders and giving directives, huh? That was something else. Anyway, I know that was short, so I got some more clips for you. Hopefully I'll be safe here, at least for the moment. So in the meantime, you guys, enjoy these coming clips. Oh boy, of frauditors keeping the police and the government accountable by harassing regular citizens.
I am a parent that has a child.
You're a parent.
So
who
you do
are
not
you?
have
Can you stop
anybody
acting
that comes
stupid?
here.
So who are you to tell me what to do?
The signs. You're looking at our kids' school. None of us know.
This is private property. This is a private property. Please leave.
No, it's not.
Are you kidding me? That's it.
Do you know this school is state run?
It is
It
not.
is not.
Oh, yes, it is.
It is a private school.
See, you don't
moron.
even know. It's communified.
It is a
It's run
private
by the state
school.
of California.
This is not.
You're taking your kids to
And
communify.
you need to come and look
It
at
is
our
not
kids. You need to come and look at our
This is
kids.
not the police.
You guys
This
should
is
know
not
that this is a
communified.
state-run school.
Leave.
This is not communified.
Don't threaten me.
I'm not letting you. I said leave.
You don't
This
tell
is
me
not
what to do.
Excuse me, ma'am. This side is communified.
Okay.
This side is not. So
You're
please.
saying the dumbest stuff.
You are, man.
Can we break
You are.
I want to break her phone.
Good.
I want
Yeah,
to.
really? Well, that would
Because you record
that
our
would be
children.
assault,
Why?
and that would
Why?
be illegal.
I
Do
don't
see
care
any
what you're
children
doing
here?
is illegal and wrong. Get out.
Oh, really?
Yes,
No,
really.
it's not. This is America.
Yes, it is. This is children.
Back up.
You back up.
Back
You
up.
back up.
Back
you
up.
did already 54.
And you back up too.
No, absolutely not.
Whitey.
Whitey, are you kidding me with this animal?
She's ridiculous.
You're the animals.
Get out. Please leave. Hurt her. Go. Leave. Go. She just wants this reaction.
Make me.
Please. She just wants this
Make
reaction.
me.
I know.
Like Disney music,
Make
super
me.
loud, it's copyrighted. She cannot.
Let it go. Record everybody. Record adults. Adults.
You're the one coming up here to
These
my
are
camera,
children.
right?
We're here to protect our
Children.
kids.
You're the one coming up. Do you see any kids
Because
here?
there are kids
They're
here.
inside
They're in
'cause
the
you won't
school.
What is the issue?
Well, it's a bit of a security risk for us.
It's a security risk for somebody to be out on a sidewalk taking pictures?
Yes.
Seriously?
Yes.
Okay, maybe you're in the wrong business. What am I, seriously, honestly, I'm trying to have the conversation. What am I supposed to do? Not take pictures out here because it's, you in your subjective mind, you have a security risk?
We do have a security risk.
You've decided that. I don't think you have a security risk because I know what I'm doing. But carry on with that. Fear and paranoia are a grand thing.
Good. Was wondering what you guys were doing? Oh, just yeah. For what reason? Nice day out. Just walking around. Yeah, you're taking a picture of this business, so I'm wondering what you guys are doing. Well, yeah, like I explained. Yeah.
Anything wrong with taking a picture of the business?
Well, you could come and talk to us. You know, say, hey, we'd like to take some pictures. And then we'd say, okay, what are they for?
Well, but you might say no.
And we might say no. But that communication probably should happen.
Well, I appreciate what you're saying, but the way I'm looking at it is, if I ask you and you say yes, I'm going to do what I was going to do anyway. And if I ask you and you say no, I'm going to do what I was going to do anyway. So what's the difference?
Hey, you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody just called us and said you were just at another place and they found it a little odd what you're doing.
Oh, so you let somebody light your fire?
Yep. So I don't know what you're doing.
But you're
just what you can see.
Okay, I think we're done, Jeff. Stop filming my store now.
I'm not going to stop filming. Why would I stop filming? See, that's what I mean about asking permission.
So why are you going around being combative?
You feel like I'm being combative?
I do.
I'm being very respectful with you and telling you
No,
more than I need to. I'm not being combative at all. My shoulders
All right,
are
Jeff,
down.
let's
I'm talking.
just go in and we're going to ignore him.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. So anyone who came in after and missed it, what happened was I was on here talking, and then all of a sudden, just out of the corner of my eye, I noticed that my dog was peeing on the floor. So I had to go run over and clean that up real quick. So I just put that on so there wouldn't be any dead air. Does anyone actually want to watch the rest of that, or just move on because you've all seen it already? What kind of dog was it? No, it's a lab. She's a lab, but I mean, she's like 13. So, she's old and has a little bit of trouble sometimes holding it a little bit. I guess maybe the thing is usually when she needs to go out, like she'll come over here and like start licking my knee or barking, trying to get my attention or whatever. But she was just sitting there, mind her own business. And then she just got up and peed. Like it was nothing. I'm like, I better clean that before it, soaks into the carpet. So I had to go take care of that. Yes, crisis solved. Anyway, yeah, that's that. I am still working on some more stuff, like regular videos, to start posting more of those. Cause like now that I've been doing this morning thing every day, by the end of it, I kind of feel like, yeah, I did my YouTube thing today. It's like, yeah, but I still need, to post videos especially because there's so many people that are still asleep right now, so I got to get some fresh content for them as well. Well, yeah, I'm not mad at her. I know it happens and she's old. So, it's all right. I understand. No laws. They could have just shot them for filming their business. Yes, exactly. And he even said it just now, Amagansett, right? When he's like, oh, fear and paranoia are a wonderful thing. And like yesterday when I was on panel and they were calling me a fearmonger or just trying to live in fear, it's like, that's not the point. It's not like I'm sitting here scared that someone's going to break into my house 24/7 and I don't know what to do. Oh my God. It's that in a society, especially the kind of society we live in where there are literally billions of people on earth, not everyone is going to be in the same position to where they can just sit back, relax, and not have to worry about anything. You know, there are going to be people that are hungry. There are going to be people that have nowhere to go. You know, if you get rid of because one of the things they kept harping on was the government regulations with property rights, right? So, what does that ultimately mean? Again, I said it before. If you say, well, this is my land, and somebody with a bigger gun says, no, it's my land, what are you going to do? Just kill each other? Yippee, that's great. That's why would you? And then they kept falling back on, yeah, but if I know not to do that and they know not to do that, everything's going to be fine. Right, but that's not the way the world works. That's not the way people work. That's not the way humanity works. There wouldn't be a need for any of this stuff if that's the way it worked. You know, they kept talking about God's law. And, you know, but if we lived in a perfect world, what would happen? Well, first of all, you'd have to eat. So where are you going to get your food? You're either going to steal it, which again, in their world, everyone would just be shooting each other over who it belongs to. Because if you're going through the time and the trouble to grow your own food or to hunt and skin and clean and cook your own animals and do all that, you're not going to want to just give it to some other idiot because you're trying to feed your family, right? So if somebody else doesn't have any land, because again, without any property rules or regulations or any laws for that to regulate it, and somebody comes to you and says, hey, I need a place to stay, and you say no, if they really have no place to stay, they're not going to take no for an answer. Like, this isn't the way things. No, and again, to me, it's not fear, it's realism. Amagansett Press saying that guy's just a fearmonger because he's worried about people casing out his jewelry store. Like, first of all, out of all the businesses that were on that strip, why did he choose to park his camera in front of? And that is an extremely important point, because at one point in that video, Watching the Watchman says, we were just walking down the street filming. What's the problem? Parking your camera in front of a store and pointing it at the store through the windows is not the same as just happen to be walking by with your camera. So why, out of all the businesses on that strip, if it's just they just happen to be in the area filming, why do you plant your cameras in front of a jewelry store specifically, if not to intentionally arouse suspicion? And to call him a fearmonger when we're talking about a jewelry store. So wait, you're telling me that in your world, no one anywhere ever has even thought about robbing a jewelry store? Like, that's not a thing? That's how you know these people are full of crap and they're lying, disingenuous, and building a false narrative. Because it's not absolutely insane, just irrational fear to have concerns about someone filming your jewelry store. And again, because I've seen it. I've seen it. In fact, Ironton, I use you as an example. If you are just out there filming something, you're not going to get that reaction, right? Because that's always their excuses. Well, I'm just filming. What's the big deal? But you're not just filming. How many videos have we seen? Hundreds of videos, if not thousands, over the years of people going into a place and filming literally everything you could possibly film in the place and then not leaving until they get a reaction from someone. Like, what are you filming at this point? You film the walls, you film the posters, you film the lady behind the counter. 20 minutes later, you're still filming the same walls, the same posters, and the same woman behind the counter. 20 minutes after that, you're still filming the same wall. You've already got all the footage you could ever possibly need. Why are you still there? If not specifically to elicit a negative reaction. How are we supposed to believe that? I don't. Exactly, Ironton. Exactly. Well, here's the thing, and like, because Anon one, I don't know if you're because Ironton's story actually played out as it happened through a combination of Chili DeCastro's videos and his videos, and so we all kind of got to watch him grow together um, on both sides. And what's interesting to me, I mean, I'm not going to speak for him, but just the general idea of it. And I've always said this, and this is extremely important, and I'll keep saying it, is that when I say frauditor, I'm talking about a very specific type of audit, right? Because the whole idea that we legally have the right to film this or film that is not up for debate. I'm not trying to say we don't. And I get so many people in my comments who absolutely have no understanding of anything saying, well, he was there legally, so what's the problem? I never said it was illegal, right? My point is that there's a difference between an auditor and a frauditor. I don't have issues with auditors. That's why I say the word frauditor. It's something different. And the difference is between, for example, if you're in a room and you're filming and there's 30 people in the room and one of them kind of gives you a look and you could tell immediately, especially the guys that have been doing this for a while, they're experts at it, and you watch their videos and you see this is what happens. It's not just me interpreting the footage this way. Just watch the video and you'll see it. Mute it so you don't hear them building their false narrative, so you could actually judge based on what is actually happening in the video. If there's a room full of a bunch of people and they're filming the people, and one of them kind of gives them a look or kind of like looks like you could tell that they're not comfortable being filmed, they immediately focus their camera specifically on that individual because they're there like any other con man looking for a mark. As soon as they find someone that's uncomfortable being filmed, that's the mark. Now you go out of your way to focus your camera on that specific individual because now you know, here's the negative reaction I came here for. Here's the person who's going to give me a hard time. And that's what you want. And of course, they'll always say, well, what I want is to just walk in, not be bothered, and walk out. But you're not going to let that happen. Especially, like I said, if you got a video that's 45 minutes, an hour, if even if you edit it and cut it down to short, if you're in the building for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours filming, how am I supposed, like, where's the line? If you just want to walk in, film, and walk out, then why are you hanging out there for so long if you're not purposely going out of your way to elicit a negative reaction? How am I supposed to believe that you just walked in there to film and leave so that you could film what happened and nobody would bother you, that when you go in there and you film and nobody bothers you, that should be it? They passed the audit. Good job, right? No. They hang around and hang around and hang around and hang around until they do get a reaction. I mean, it's so transparent to me. It's so blatantly obvious to me, you know? And Anyway, let me go back real quick because I see it looks like we got some more people in here that we didn't have earlier that I didn't get to say hi to. Sarah Burton, good to see you. Welcome back to the channel over by there. Vinoy, always good to see you again. Another one of my regular morning people. I love my morning crew. You guys, I'll tell you what, man, and I know I say this every day, but the more I do this, the more I see, I see the same people, and I have such a good group. I love you guys so much, and you make my day so good. Every day I do this, and I end up being in a good mood the whole rest of the day. It's great. Seriously. Brian Showman, hello. Fire. Yes. I love it. Um, yeah. Filming in public to make some extra money. Not. Well, what I've been thinking about contemplating doing, and I mean at this point, honestly, it's not even something I'm thinking about anymore. It's going to happen. It's just a question of when, because to be perfectly honest, right now, where I'm at specifically, every single day, all day, it's either over 100 degrees out or it's a horrible thunderstorm every day. Where I'm at, right outside here, like maybe 30 feet away from where I'm sitting, we have this huge ditch. I mean, it's massive, like almost a mile long. Like it's huge. And literally twice a week, it'll be bone dry and then it'll be full again. And then it'll be bone dry and then it'll be because that's how hot and how much rain we've been getting. And I have to say this right here, right now. I have to acknowledge Jennifer. Oh, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in a minute. I mean, I see you in other people's stuff, but I haven't seen you over here in a while. It's really, really good to have you here. You were one of my first really big supporters of this channel, so I definitely appreciate seeing you here. I love it. Very happy to see you here today. Anyway, yes, my morning streams, it's a regular thing now. I do it every morning at 7 a.m. Eastern. So, just FYI, you're ever up early, I'm going to be here. I haven't been doing it on weekends except last Sunday. I did a memorial for 9/11 thing where I just all day for 8 hours, I just left an image in the screen of a flag waving in the breeze. But you never get notifications when anyone goes live. Yeah, I don't know, Jennifer. I don't know what's going on. Um, did you ever go back and look at your settings on your computer to see maybe if you have any notifications blocked? I mean, I don't know. That's the only thing I could think of off the top of my head. But anyway, it's great to see you. Great to have you here. Like I said, this is my thing now. I've been doing this for a couple weeks now. Every morning, 7 a.m., Monday through Friday, I'll be here. Weekends, I'll just pop in and out depending on what's going on and how I'm feeling. But it's so early. You're not even here yet. But yeah, it's become a thing, man. This is the morning tradition now. You wake up, make your coffee, sit down, hang out with Hez for a while, and it's a good thing. And like I've said before, the whole reason I started this is, well, there's two reasons I started it. One is mornings work best for me because before I get my day started, I'm always up anyway. I worked for years and years and years at a job where I had to wake up at 5. So I'm just kind of used to waking up early anyway. I'm like, well, why not use that to do my lives? Nobody else is on in the morning. And the second reason is because at night, when everybody else is live, it's not about competition. It's about, I want to watch their streams. I want to watch Troll stream. I want to watch Skeptic stream. I want to watch Masshole Report. I want to watch their shows, not be doing my own show at the same time. But this morning thing's been working out for me really good, so I'm definitely going to keep it up. This is my new thing. Just every day, Monday through Friday, I'll definitely be here. I probably will. I'll tell you guys right now. I'll probably do something on Sunday. I won't be here. The super fan will, because this Sunday the Chicago Bears, the Bears, are playing the Green Bay Packers over by there in the Midwest, as it always is a good time. So I'm definitely going to have to cover that. Um, but that's something different. That's my football stuff. So, but I'll probably show up at some point on Sunday and talk about the game. Um, oh, okay. So, thank you, Jennifer. Talking about VF and KFAR. I remember when VF got his, he actually went on and he was like, "Hey guys, I just got this book by Hezokuai," and he always calls me Hezekiah, which is fine because I get it. That's a biblical name. But he's like, "Hey, I just got this book from Hezekiah. It's great. And look at this very first line. Congratulations on your decision to become a professional jackwagon." He loved that. So I love that he loved it. Because obviously he got the reference. Me and Vilified get along really well too. I've been on a lot of his streams. I go to his Sunday prayer streams when I can. So he knows who I am, and I know him. We have a good time. We have a good time. Yeah, Jennifer, I actually did a reading of the whole book a couple days ago. Just to put it out there because I do have ATV Thunder. Good to see you, by the way. Yeah, it's interesting to look at the way that whole thing came about. But anyway, yeah, I read it, and in fact, there's a copy of it on the wall back there in my shirt. I actually have two shirts. My other one is a picture of a witch casting a magic spell, and the spell is "There is no expectation of privacy in public." I think Kick, I sent Kick one of those. So that's good stuff. Yeah, VF bought it. Kick bought it. Who else do I know for a fact got it? Uncle Artie. A bunch of people. I mean, I'm not selling a million copies or anything, but it definitely, I'm proud of it anyway. I think it turned out pretty good. I do have the second edition ready to go. It's just for some reason I'm having formatting issues. The paragraphs, when I actually put it to print, always end up getting all discombobulated, and it just doesn't look right. So I'm still working on fixing all that. But really, it's not that much different. There's just, as I went back and read it again, there are a couple little minor errors, like there's an of that's supposed to be an or in there at one point. Little stuff like that I noticed, and certain things that I thought, as Ragical would say, I wasn't using my wordy bits very well, and just maybe rewording a couple of sentences here and there just a little bit. I mean, minor changes, but they are there. Yeah, I'm subscribed to VF's second channel as well. I like the fact that he does that. For those of you who aren't familiar with Vilified Freedom, I highly recommend his channel. He's great. Big supporter of this channel. And he's someone who, again, not trying to bring up and turn this into some kind of a religious debate or anything like that, but just in general, the fact that he isn't afraid to express his faith without at the same time shoving it in people's faces, right? Because that's what everyone always talks about. Everyone's afraid of, I don't want you just shoving the Bible in my face and telling me this and blah, blah. He doesn't do that. But at the same time, he acknowledges that he's a believer. And I really appreciate that, because to me, that takes courage, especially nowadays when everybody's like, if you say the word Jesus, forget it. It's a big major event, and him, he ain't afraid to say it. He just tells it like it is. And I definitely respect and appreciate that completely. So, yeah, we're having a good morning and everything's going on pretty good so far. So, in summation, what we've talked about so far is, again, for those of you who just joined who might not already know, Last night on Chili DeCastro Delete Law's live stream, he was talking about Kate at the Masshole Report and said that I hope she dies, goes to hell, and I hope that her children get bone cancer. So that's really nice. He's a good guy. You could tell he's a really nice person. Oh, no, he's not. Oh my goodness, the audacity of this bonehead douche hammer sauce jerk face. Oh, I can't even think of enough insults to call this guy because he's so horribly bad on so many different levels. Oh man, it's ridiculous. But yeah, he accepts everyone, and that's a good thing. I appreciate that too. Um, he's a good guy. Waste of skin and oxygen. Yes, he is no good. Oh, chili. And then the other thing we talked about was yesterday I was on a panel for a Sovereign Citizen channel. Actually, it was Sovereign Soul, Unchained Mind. I went on panel with them, and we actually had a decent discussion. It wasn't an argument. I wouldn't even call it a debate. It was, discussing the issues and our views on them. And so I went back and looked at some of that stuff and what was going on there. And that all turned out pretty good. Like I said, I addressed some of the issues that came up. And then other than that, the only other thing is Chili's still in second place on the Grifties, man. He was in first, but now Katie Joy's beating him. We got competition, guys. We got to get on the Grifty Awards and vote for Chili. Get him back up to first where he belongs. Oh, my goodness. Oh, wait a minute, guys. Look what I got. Hold on. I got this. Look what I just found. This is one of my favorite things. Look at this. Say hello to the people. All right. So the boy's up. So, look at this. We got Miranda in the house. Welcome. Well, listen, wait, before you go, how's the baby? How you doing? Is everything going good over there? I'd like to keep us posted on what's going on and how he's doing. But yeah, thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate that, of course. As always, having a good time. Sleepy, grumpy kid. Yeah. He's doing great. Excellent. Glad to hear that. Very glad to hear that. Love it. Hi, kid. Good morning. They said good morning. He says hi. For those of you who haven't been in my morning streams before, that's generally how I time how long I'm going to be on is based on when the kids wake up. Because then I got to start getting breakfast ready and getting them ready for school and all that. So we'll probably be wrapping it up soon, but we don't have to go just yet. Is there anything else anybody was wondering about or wants to discuss, or anything that came up that I missed or didn't talk about? Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Chili's lawsuits are going to go anywhere. In my opinion, I mean, obviously we can't know what's going to happen before it does, but all you have to do is, and this is one of the other issues that I see come up a lot with these guys in general, is that, thank you very much, Miranda. I appreciate that. And you know what? My kid's good looking too. That's, anyway. So, oh my goodness, I lost my train of thought. Good morning. Have a good day at school. Yes. Kids up. Coffee clutch is ending soon. Yeah. Oh, having me on the panel last night. Yeah. You know what? Again, it was great. Like I said, I actually appreciate discussions about these issues. When I try to talk to someone and it's just the same old say, oh, well, you blah, 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 you're wrong because you're a bootlicker and all this. That's not a discussion. That's not addressing issues. That's just a bunch of crap. Um, but yeah, the lawsuits that he keeps filing are just so silly. Oh, but what I was going to say is that what happens with these guys, and I see this all the time, is you watch their videos and you see their court proceedings and their lawsuits and all of this nonsense, and it's always kind of the same thing to a certain extent. It's like you see and hear these arguments they make in court, right? And these lawsuits they file and this and that. And a lot of times they end up getting their cases dismissed or charges dropped, or they win the lawsuits or whatever it is. And I get it as far as like if you make a video of someone saying or doing something, right? Or you saying or doing something, and whatever happens in that video leads to there being some sort of legal filings or lawsuits or whatever, that the court is going to accept that video, the one that the argument is about, into evidence. But that doesn't necessarily mean that all of your other videos that you've made can be entered as evidence because they're not regarding that one specific event. So I understand that. I'm not complaining about that. I get it. But if you're not one of us, if you're not someone who actually follows these people and watches all their videos, you're not going into it knowing and understanding that this is what this moron does, right? All you know is in this one particular case, this happened and this person reacted this way. And without understanding the full context of what this person actually is, it becomes a lot easier to sort of say, oh, well, this person said or did something in this video, and here's a video of them doing it. So, yeah, maybe you're right. And it's a shame, because, we look at it and we're like, no, Judge, you don't understand. This wasn't just a random person who happened to have their camera out and somebody messed with them. No, this is a professional jerk face who goes around doing this for a living. They're proud of the fact that this is their job. And it is, and it's no good. That's no good. Oh, look at this. We got Miranda back with another one. Thank you. Good morning, Unclean Hands. It's not lawsuits, it's lull suits. They're jokes. Yes, indeed they are. It's absolutely a joke. Anyway, welcome, Unclean. Good to see you again this morning. So many good people in here. Yeah, Jim, one of the things that I've been seeing a lot of happening more and more recently, that's pretty cool, is people who are filmed in these videos that ask not to be filmed are starting to find these videos and put claims on them to get them shut down for using their image without their permission to make a profit. So that does work. That is a thing. But the hard part is because they go out of their way to never mention who they are or what their channel name is, for the people who are being filmed to get and understand this is what's happening and this is where you go and this is the process you do to file a complaint against them for using your image for profit. That is a thing. It does work. I've been hearing more and more of these frauditors complaining about this happening to them, which means that it is something that can happen. Again, the hard part is, finding these people and pointing them in the right direction. Hey, you some random Joe on the street. How do you figure out, oh, that's so-and-so? We got to let them know, hey, this is the channel that posted your video. So you could go there and you could put a claim in against them by clicking on the whole process. We got to get it out there, get the information out there so that people can find it easier and better, But again, it's hey, Kiss a Cat, welcome. Let's see, make sure that I got everybody because I love making sure I acknowledge everybody in here. Again, Unclean. Leland's here always. Jennifer Klein, good to see you, good old boy. Hello, baby. Salacious Jim Hughes. I love my morning crew. ATV Thunder. Thunder. Vinoy. Ironton, yeah. Miranda, of course. Bryant, man. Man, I love you guys so much. Good old boy. Yeah, my morning crew is so awesome. Always end up starting my day in a good mood because I get to spend my mornings with you guys. Um, and that's another thing that I'm actually starting to really, one of the reasons why I'm really starting to fall in love with this whole morning thing is it's like, it starts my day off on a positive note. You know, it's like after this, I go about my day, I get the kids ready, make breakfast, send them off to school, do all the things, and then I'm happy. You know, and I had a good morning. You know, and always, I wake up and it's so beautiful that I've done this and put myself in a position to where now every morning when I wake up, it's like, oh boy, I'm going to get ready for my stream now. Oh, this is going to be great. And I get excited about it. Um, oh, thank you, Jennifer. I love you guys too so much. Like I say, you guys make me so happy every morning. Um, so again, I'm definitely going to keep this up. And like I was saying, we're about to hit the 2 hour mark. My boy's up. I got to start getting ready for the day, getting him ready and everything else. So I think I'm going to wrap it up here. But in the meantime, just a reminder, definitely be back Monday morning, 7 a.m. In the meantime, during the weekend, I might pop in and out here and there. Like I said, on Sunday, I'll probably do something, but it'll be definitely regarding the Bears game, the Bears, because they're playing Green Bay. So there's no way I could not mention that. Um, and that's pretty much, oh, yes. And King Leo passed away. We were talking about that yesterday. Rest in peace. So anyway, I'm sure I'll see you guys around here and there in other people's chats and this and that. And I might have some new regular, more standard type content coming out soon. I got a bunch of videos on deck. It's just a matter of, finishing them up, cleaning up the editing and all that. Oh no, Kiss a Cat, it's okay. We love you. I'm glad that you came at all. Always good to see you. Um, and like I say, I might pop in and out here and there over the weekend and maybe even later today. But these morning bits are the only ones that are scheduled. Every morning, 7 a.m. Eastern, I will be here, come hell or high water. But what's funny about that is that's all true except for if I lose my Wi-Fi. Then forget it. Nothing. I won't be here. But other than that, that'll be it. So anyway, once again, thank you guys very much for coming out. Love you guys. Always good to see you. Always make my morning a happy morning. And once again, make sure that you check out the morning show through the rest of the week. And on the weekends, I'll be somewhere. I'll see you guys. Thank you very much for coming out. And as I always say, oh, yay, yay, I'm all shook up.